I get it. You want a business that can scale. My question for you is, do you also want a seven-figure business that feels more predictable? One where every single month you have predictable monthly recurring revenue. If that's you, then you want to stop just asking, what should I sell next? And it's important to start asking, what journey am I taking my client on? And you probably understand already the importance of continuation or retention and all those things. And yet I see coaches get this wrong all the time. Or they find themselves asking, I get it. I know I need a retention offer, but what would I even sell them next? I've already given them everything in my first program. And I'm going to answer that question here for you. Because that belief or that question of what would I even sell them next is the belief that keeps so many coaches stuck from adding $50,000 to $250,000 a month to their business and making their business more predictable, more sustainable, and more scalable. Because when you get this right, it changes your business completely. Don't believe me? I'm just going to read to you exactly what a client just sent me yesterday. Mike, I laughed when I saw this part. I am shooketh, and I can't believe I was making business harder by only really focusing or relying on front-end sales for the last 8 years. And to be clear, this is a nutrition coach who already runs a seven-figure business. And yet we can run a business that feels unsustainable. We worry that it's going to crash every single month. We question if we're going to get new leads or new clients. And without that, it feels like we're on a revenue roller coaster. I'm going to keep reading. Front-end applications have actually been slower than norm, and yet revenue is up because this system is so strong. And this is while still in the transition of learning your experience funnel. All of this training is really clicking with the team too. They are loving it. I'm so stoked and I'm so grateful for Champ Dev. And yet one of the biggest concerns when I first started working with this coach was they kept asking themselves, what else am I even going to give a student? What else am I going to even sell a client after they've already completed my first 12-week program? And yet after learning this system, after learning this model, they're taking a one-time 3K client and turning it into a 30K lifetime value client. And I'm going to show you in this video exactly how to do that and exactly what you would offer them. Because when I grew my online fitness business past 100K a month, it wasn't solely me asking, how do I get more clients? How do I get more clients? It actually became more about what journey am I taking my existing clients on? So in this video, I'm not going to just convince you that you should have a continuation or an ascension offer. In fact, I'm going to break down exactly what the frameworks, beliefs, and roadmaps should be if you want to have above industry average retention and ascension. If you want to get to the point where you have $50,000 to $100,000 a month in high ticket monthly recurring revenue before you even bring on a new lead or sell a new client, then this is the video for you. And when you get this right, you have so much more than just your standard continuation offer, because there's a lot of mistakes or downfalls to a standard continuation offer. One, why just keep putting someone through another 12-week program and another 12-week program? What I hate about that is that I have to come back every 90 days and feel like I'm in a sales process with my clients. Why not just have a designed program that takes them, yes, from maybe a 12-week program and then puts them into a 12-month program? And imagine the stability and consistency that comes with that. The other pitfall or mistake I've seen with the standard continuation offer is a lot of coaches start finding or feeling like they should start lowering their rates a little bit because it's like, I've already given them a lot of the initial thing. And so what I see a lot of coaches doing is they start lowering their price the longer someone works with them. If you get this right, what I'm about to walk you through is not only do you have students that are more consistently and more committed and consistent in like a 12-month program, but you also have a continuation offer and an ascension offer. An ascension offer where they're actually excited to pay you more, not just the same or not less. And when you get that right, you start stacking high ticket monthly recurring revenue. Let's get to it. Okay, we're going to break this down into 3 key parts to this training that by the end, you're going to feel more confident about exactly what to offer and how to design your offer when it comes to LTV and Ascension. This is one of the pitfalls I see coaches run into in devaluing working with a client further beyond the first 3 months, 6 months, etc. I already taught them everything. And I remember when I was building out my Ascension offer for my Health and Wealth Academy, and I went up to my mom's, I was in my mom and dad's house. I went up to the bedroom that I grew up in. I was visiting Jersey and I was working on this project. And I remember looking at all the things that most marketing gurus teach online coaches about growing their business. And I started to pay attention to things that I was like, I don't know if I even believe that. What were some of the things that I was seeing? I saw things in the application that said things like, after working with me for these 90 days, you will never need to hire a fitness coach ever again. Or it said things like, after working with me for these 12 weeks, your results will be permanent. And I remember being like, that's great for marketing, but do I even really believe that? And that's what made me realize that I'm not in the business of selling just information. I'm in the business of selling long-term transformation. And for me, I don't believe that happens overnight. I grew up taking karate. I started when I was 3. I then went on to win 12 different national championships and stuff like that. But I share that for context because I didn't become masterful or national championship level from working really hard for 90 days. I'm 40 now, and almost 30 something years later, I still train. And I still oftentimes do some of the same basic fundamentals that I was doing at 5 years old and 8 years old and 12 years old. And so the question I have for you is, what is something that you would consider yourself an expert at, masterful at? Is it a sport you played? Is it an instrument you learned? Is it a language you speak? And my guess is whatever the thing that's coming to mind for you right now, you didn't get good at that thing overnight. You became masterful at that thing, not over days, not over weeks, not over months, but chances are years and potentially decades. And so if we are committed, and I say we meaning coaches, if we are committed to truly serving clients in a way that is transformative, yes, we want to get them results fast. That is still important to me. But I also believe we have to create a roadmap that shows them, if they want to work with us over a longer period of time, that we have a roadmap that will also help them get results that are built to last. So yes, let's build something that gets them results fast, but let's show them that we can help them get results built to last as well. And so if we're going to do that, this is the first foundational framework that I build all of my students' roadmaps on in a way that increases their LTV and builds their business with high ticket MRR. And that is that, yes, your first phase program should be focused on developing the student's habit. And all different types of books and readings have shown that it oftentimes takes 21 to 58 days to develop a habit. And that is great, but that is not the end game, in my opinion. Because building a habit is just practicing something enough until you've gotten it right. Now that might sound good, but let's take a look at the second goal of my second phase programs. And that is to work with a client over a long enough period of time until we've developed what they're doing into their lifestyle. And most studies have found for something to go from habit to lifestyle takes 16 to 18 months. So right there alone, having just a front-end first phase program, in my opinion, is a disservice or underserving a client if you're committed to transformation. And what's the difference between habit and lifestyle? Developing a lifestyle is practicing something enough consistently until not just you get it right, but until it gets to the point where you can't get it wrong. Would you agree that there's a huge difference in confidence in I'm practicing something enough till I got it right versus I'm practicing something enough until I can't get it wrong? A question I oftentimes ask people is, think of a habit that you thought you had down to then wake up a year later and you're not doing that thing. Was it, I'm going to read a hard copy book every night? Was it, I'm not going to doom scroll or be on my phone in the morning? Was it, I'm going to wake up at a certain time? You get it, right? What is a habit that you thought you had down, and yet a year or two later, you're not doing that thing consistently? You practiced it till you got it right, but that's not the same thing as getting it to the point where you can't get it wrong. And so we want to help clients not just get it right, but through breakups, hot weather, cold weather, vacation, stress at work, get to the point where they're like, I just know that this is a part of like my lifestyle. And you might say, that's amazing, but that's still not the end game. The reason why all of my programs have 3 phases is because I want to take them from habit to lifestyle, and the real end game is to get to the point where it is their identity. And studies have found that it takes 3 to 4 years to change or transform someone's identity. Why do you think high school is how many years? Why do you think college is 3 to 4 years? And most of the time, for those of us who have been to high school or have been to college, when we're graduating, we hear phrases all the time like, I'm not the same person when I walk through those doors. And transforming something to your identity is practicing something enough until it becomes a part of who you are. And that's what we really want to help people do. We can help them develop the habits to lose 10 pounds. That's habit. Then we can help transform them to the point where it is just their lifestyle staying down 10 pounds. But what we really want to help someone do is get to the point where they say, I am a 150-pound person. I used to weigh 160, but that's just not who I am anymore. Because what we create in our lives is a direct reflection to our identity and what we normalize. And so this might be a shift in your thinking, maybe even polarizing. But if you want to worry about what to sell your client next, you don't need to worry about what to sell them new. In fact, that is one of the biggest mistakes that I see coaches make. Instead, what if you focused on the most valuable thing you can sell your client next is more time over a long time horizon, consistently developing the skill set of the things you already have them working on. Now, that doesn't mean when we build out next level offers, there's not something new, there's not something next level. I'm just saying that doesn't have to be the first question you need to answer if you want to confidently have something to sell your clients after their first phase program with you. And so that's the first pillar or the first layer of getting clear on what would I even sell them next. And I hope that you're seeing that the value of what comes next is the transformation that you're creating with the client, not the information. Because for me, and I want you to keep reflecting on this yourself, what are the things that you became great at in your life? I played basketball through high school. And when I think back to my very first basketball camp, when I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old, then 10 years later as a varsity basketball player, I was doing a lot of the same exact shooting drills, defense drills, and everything like that. And I don't remember a coach ever apologizing for the fact that we were doing a lot of the same drills. In fact, they were saying, this is why we're going to be a winning team. This is how you're going to become great, that we're doing the fundamentals and the basics consistently over a long period of time. And that's the same authority or leadership that you can provide your clients as well. And that is, yes, you're going to provide them with the information. But what you really offer that is valuable is the implementation to the point where it becomes a transformation and they can see that this has become a part of who they are through highs and lows, ups and downs over years and years to come. The second framework of building out a really strong Ascension offer is remembering that sales is relating to a client's problem and then offering a solution. But the problem that you as the coach oftentimes make is forgetting that a client after 3 to 4 months of working with you has different problems than when they first started working with you. When they first started working with you, they needed to be told what to do in some cases. But what problems are they starting to run into after 3 to 4 months with you? After they've lost 5 to 15 pounds, after they have some momentum. And when you start to think about it, including myself and yourself, after some momentum is when we think we need coaching, accountability, and support the least, but you could actually argue it's when we need it the most. Why is that? A lot of times after we have momentum, tell me if you've ever fallen into this trap. We start feeling bored of doing the very thing that's getting us results. We sometimes get shiny object syndrome. Maybe this will get me results faster, maybe that. Sometimes we fall or run into a plateau, whether it was an income plateau, a weight loss plateau, and then we start getting really frustrated and we give up on ourselves. And that's when we convince ourselves there's got to be something better, when sometimes the very thing that was working, that lost the first 15 pounds, are the fundamental things that'll get us to the next 15 pounds down, but it's a different mindset. And so that's where I walk students through reconnecting back to the 4 Ps, reconnecting back to the 4 Ps of who your client is after they've worked with you for the first 3 to 6 months. The first P is the person that you're selling to. Now, yes, it's the same human being, But the sooner you can realize it is a completely different avatar after 3 to 6 months with you, the easier it'll become for you to understand and how to relate to that person when it comes to what your next level offer is. Because while it's the same person, it's the same meat suit, it's the same person in front of you, it's a completely different avatar in my experience. Why? Because the problems or the pains that they're experiencing after 3 to 6 months of momentum with you are very different when they first started. What types of things are they struggling with now? Do I have to track macros forever? I'm getting bored of this. I don't know if I want to keep doing this. Maybe they're running into complacency. They wanted to lose 30 pounds, but they're so excited about the first 15 to 20 pounds down, they're no longer as motivated as when they first started. Maybe their pain or problem is they've lost the weight, but they don't look the way they thought they were going to look losing 15 pounds. Now they need to go from fat burning to building muscle. And the sooner you can recognize what their pains and problems are and that they are actually different than when they first started, the easier it'll be for you to get clear on the roadmap of where you're taking people. So, number one, get clear on the person. Number two, relate to the problems and pains. And one of the best ways you can do this is to go back to your own journey. What problems or pitfalls did you start to run into after you had a lot of momentum in the gym for the first time or losing 20 pounds? Where were you starting to feel insecure or unsure? I can remember for me, I had lost about 10 to 15 pounds. I was feeling leaner, but I wasn't looking more muscular or toned. And as someone who's naturally a little scrawny, I was like, cool, I lost all this weight, but I still don't look. And then I had these guys or people that I thought I wanted to look like. And I was like, but I still don't look like blank. And that became really frustrating for me. And once again, I found myself back in a loop of like, maybe there's something better out there for me. And so what were the pains and problems? I remember working with a client and she said to me, after I lost the first 5 to 10 pounds, I actually ran into a huge problem. I didn't feel like I was seeing any more progress, so I went right back to overdoing cardio and over restricting again. The very things that I realized didn't work for me when I lost the first 5 to 10 pounds. So we revert back to old patterns. So go back to what were the problems and pains you ran into? What questions were you having? What insecurities did you still have? And what promise did you still want? For me, I just shared, I remember I lost the weight, but I was like, I still want to look more shredded, more toned. I want a 6-pack. So what goals do your clients after 3 to 6 months still have or want? Is it a certain size bikini they want to get into? Is it skin? Is it energy? Is it confidence? But I promise you, after 3 to 6 months, even if they are jumping up and down about the progress and results you got them so far, they still have a vision or a dream or a goal of what they want next. So what is the promise that you make your ideal clients at this stage? Maybe it's a next level result. Maybe it's the fact that they're finally going to not just lose the weight, but keep it off. Maybe it's that they're going to burst or bust through a plateau that they've always found themselves stuck at. Maybe they're going to get stronger. What is the promise that you make clients at this next stage? And I want to remind you at the most foundational, fundamental level, if the promise is we're going to take this from something that worked for you as a habit, but we're going to turn it into a lifestyle in a way that you prove to yourself you can't get it wrong. Because Sally, how many times have you lost the 10 pounds before and then Thanksgiving and Christmas hit and you put it all back on? The weather got colder and you lost all your motivation. The summer hit and you started drinking and eating more. Or you had a breakup or stress at work and all your good habits went out the window. We're going to prove to you that yes, you've developed this as a habit, but you can make this lasting as well. What's the promise that you're really making clients at this next stage so that you can get clear on what the process is that you're going to guide them through at the next stage? And the process is where, yes, you potentially will start introducing some next level or new things at this stage. But it's not the number one thing you're worrying about. You're first relating to what's the problem and the pain. What's the promise we want to make them? Then you can get clear. Is this when we introduce progressive overload to the student? Is this when we start to teach them intuitive eating? What next level or new things? Is this where we bring blood work into their work? Focus on their hormones? Is this where we focus on sleep or steps or whatever it is? But this is when you can get clear on what those next level things are. And so when you take the time to not just ask, what should I sell them next? When you slow down and recognize the question you don't want to start asking first is just, what else would I teach them? And you take the time to do these 4 Ps. I have seen student after student after student that I've guided through this practice start to see the answer reveal itself to them. I now see why I add so much value continuing to work with clients longer than just the first couple months. So at this point, I hope that you were clear on number 1, that information's not the most valuable thing you're selling them next, but true transformation is, going from habit to lifestyle to identity. Number 2, the best way to relate to where they're at and where you're taking them next is to go back and remember the pains and the problems that you experienced or you've seen other clients experience after some initial momentum. Third, and lastly, so what do you actually offer? Let's break that down. So when I was scaling my Health and Wealth Academy, my fitness coaching to $200,000 to $300,000 a month, what I'm about to show you is one of the big things that unlocked that next revenue level. And that was I did not just have a continuation offer. Similar to how Alex Hormozi teaches in his money models, I felt it was important to have an Ascension offer that was also in his language, an upsell offer to go into next, a continuation offer, a level for them to continue similar to where they're at already. And at that point, they're a loyal client. I want to have a drop-down offer for them as well. And so I believe every retention tier should have an Ascension offer, a continuation offer, and a drop-down offer. Now, what you don't want to do is create like 3 completely different programs. Because then you'll have, before you know it, you'll have like 9 to 12 different programs and your business is way too complex. And that is the antithesis of building a business that's ready to scale. So how do you build out an Ascension offer, a continuation offer, and a drop-down offer at each tier, but in a way that's simple? Is I make them all built on the same foundation of 4 C's of delivery. I call it the 4C freedom formula. Every single tier is built on the following 4 C's: community, course access, can't spell there, calls, and this is referring to group calls, and coaching. To me, coaching is done one-to-one. So how can I have an Ascension offer, a continuation offer, and a drop-down offer built on similar foundations of those 4 C's? Let me show you. So I'll just walk you through real-life examples in my own programs. So when a student finishes my Health and Wealth Academy, my first phase 4-month fitness program, they have an option to move into Evolve, which is the Ascension offer. If they get into Evolve, they do have their own virtual community. They're the next level students. They're the leaders in the community. In my world, they're the people that don't want to just lose weight for the sake of losing weight. They're losing weight to become a better leader of their business, of their organization, of their household. And so therefore, they also do care about some of those types of things if we introduce some next level personal growth topics and teachings at that level. So they have their own community. But if they just continue at the level they're at, HWA, Health and Wealth Academy, they stay in the same community they've already been in, okay? So that's an example of community. Course, for Health and Wealth Academy, like continuation, they might unlock a couple next level modules, right? Some things about nutrition, some things about fitness, etc. But as they move into Evolve, there's a whole new unlock of different modules based on the things that type of student desires to learn and keep improving on. As far as calls, they both attend the Ascension and the continuation. They ascend a lot of the same calls they already had in their first phase program. But the Evolve students only get a special call with me, and they're the only students that get that call with me every single Tuesday for Q&A, hot seat, or a special topic. So I've created this whole Ascension next level offer, and the only real new thing I've added is a more exclusive access call directly to me as an example. And then lastly, coaching, right? Some one-on-one examples. Continuation, right? They have the same coach they've already been working on. But Evolve level students, they can unlock what we call one-on-one mastery tokens. And they can use these one-on-one calls for specialty coaching. We have a somatic emotional therapist. We have someone that can review blood work and do higher level longevity and hormone type of work. They have a finance coach, right? They can walk through personal finances. My ideal client, my Health and Wealth Academy, is a sales entrepreneur. So sometimes they are wanting to improve that, and it's called the Health and Wealth Academy. And so the coaching at the continuation tier stays the same. Ascension unlocks a next level tier, and then drop down can sometimes be in the continuation, they were talking to their one-on-one coach weekly, but the drop down might be same exact coach, but every other week or monthly only, as an example. And that's how we've not created multiple new programs. We've just tweaked or pulled different levers of the 4 C's in a way that I have an Ascension offer, a continuation offer, and even the option or possibility of a drop-down offer. And so the best way to do this is to build a foundation of the 4 C's that you see here, and then just tweak and adjust based on Ascension. They get a little bit of this, they get some new modules, and they get their own course access. Maybe they're the ones that get invitations to a live retreat. In my Evolve community, it's only students in Evolve that get invited to our 2 times a year in-person retreats. HWA Gold students, continuation, they do not get invited to the community things like a retreat. They stay in the same virtual community they already had. They get some new course stuff. They get most of the same calls they already had, and they continue working with their same coach. But the Ascension student gets next level community stuff, some next level course stuff. They get 1 additional call with me, and they unlock some next level coaching calls. So hopefully that gives you some good examples of exactly what you can include for an Ascension offer and a continuation offer. If you want mine or my team's support in just building this out with you, like installing these actual systems, there'll be a link somewhere below this. You can click on that link, fill out the application, see if you and your team qualify and are a good fit to have me and my team install these exact systems done with you, as close to done for you as possible, right into your business, and add $50,000 to $100,000 a month in business on top of what you already have. But most importantly, if you know you've wanted to build a business that's more sustainable and scalable, and you know LTV is one of the ways to do that, but you have found yourself thinking like, what the heck am I going to teach them next? Recognize that that means you're thinking more like a course creator instead of an actual coach or leader. And so in closing, the reason why I say being a true leader is because when I go back to all the things that I became good at in my life, maybe even great at, and you think back to a lot of those same things, the coach was a true leader. They weren't just easy on me, because there's that whole phrase that like, when you're easy on yourself, life becomes hard on you later. But when you're hard on yourself, life becomes easy on you later. The coaches I look back at and I have a respect for, even if they were really challenging to me at the time, they're the coaches and leaders that believed in doing the same thing consistently until you became great at it. They believed in long time horizons. They didn't let me get overly distracted by shiny object syndrome when it wasn't the right time to focus on something new. And so if you want to build a roadmap that is truly transformative and taking clients somewhere, then number 1, make sure you're remembering, are you building a tier of deliverables that help them develop a habit, turn it into a lifestyle, then an identity? Number 2, are you doing that not from a place of what should I teach them next, but relating back to what they're struggling with at that time, what they actually need, going back to the 4 Ps, in such a way that then clearly reveals to you how those offerings should be designed. And that's an Ascension offer for your next level students, like your top 20%, a continuation offer for the average 60% students, and a drop-down offer for those who still want to be in your world, still want support, but maybe just want to invest a little bit less. And you do that through the foundation of the 4C Freedom Formula. So I hope this video was valuable for you. And most importantly, in a way that helps transform the way you think about the way you can serve your clients.